is nobody likes to be shit on by the internet or by the media, and so you put up a false bravado and say, I don't like these people, and then when they come back and they say, we love you, you're like, oh, I loved you too. It's human nature.
Can business guys get away with that kind of, sort of bullshit, really, where it's like say one thing just to sort of win someone over, but then say another thing, and even if you were to reconcile those two things and they didn't agree with one another, like, do you have to be much more careful than even a politician, people that will soon run the the United States of America, but even right here at home that sort of run our cities and our country?
Well, yeah, I mean, you have less scrutiny in what you say, but in defense of Donald Trump or any politician, when you're an outsider and you see the job, you don't you think you know what it is, but you don't fully know it until you open up the door and say, holy fuck, nobody actually told me this stuff.
Hello up there. It's Brad J. Lamb.
You too can become a condo millionaire.
The Todd Shapiro Show. Canada Laughs. Sirius XM 168.
You doing all right?
I'm good, yeah.
Yeah. How's that? Was it tough getting down here?
My crack staff didn't properly inform me.
I let them know. So did you did you boot over and then boot back?
Yeah, I went over to your main thing and I walked in. I'm like, okay, I guess it wasn't happening this week. So I called Ryan and he said, no, it's happening. But he said it's happening.
Are you gonna fire someone tonight?
Here.
Are you gonna fire someone?
No.
Okay.
No. It's okay.
But you went. I mean, did you? What were you like driving quick? Were you going to get?
I wasn't driving. Someone was driving.
Okay.
So I called the guy back. He picked me up and then brought me over here.
Okay.
It actually took to go from your office to here was 7 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's unbelievable.
Do you have a driver?
I don't have a full-time driver, but if I need to be driven, I have someone who can drive me.
I would do that. I think I would do that over getting nice cars. And I'm a driver, but the older I get, I like just getting shit done. And I know you're always working and getting shit done.
Yeah.
And so I would just have a driver.
It's very pompous.
Is it?
I think so.
Why?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying I wouldn't do it, but I'm just saying it does feel a bit much. But there's, I would do it at the time when I felt I had to do it, and it's not. I don't think I need to get a driver right now.
You are. I mean, but you're busy making deals because it's dangerous to text and drive and stuff. It's dangerous to do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's dangerous to do that. Mostly, it's just it's a little stressful if you're late driving, right? So you tend to make bad decisions. And there is a texting in the phone part that I'm always on the phone and texting. I don't text when I drive, but I'm on the phone a lot when I drive.
Yeah, no, I'm terrible.
But also I can get a lot done. So really, for me, it would be like if I was constantly in between, like if I was spending a lot of time outside of the office, going from meeting to meeting, and the distances were large enough, then I would get a driver. But just to get a driver to have someone drive me to dinner and to work is silly.
No, I see. For those little things. We obviously, we've been working together for about, I think, 6 months now, and thank you again. And there's a lot of people have been saying within the Toronto area, knowing that we're close, going, Brad J. Lamb put on the nicest Christmas light decorations that I've ever seen. They love what you've done there.
Oh, that's
Matt
great.
O'Brien told us that yesterday. A comedian came on, and Brad J. He's got the nicest Christmas lights.
Yeah. Well, that was the goal. So I said to Ryan 9 months ago, this next Christmas, we're going to have the nicest Christmas lights in Toronto. And so we called actually a landscape architect, a very good landscape architect, Janice Rosenberg Studios, phenomenally talented landscape architects. And they recommended this place, and they showed me a few ideas, and we were like, yeah, it's fantastic, right? So those lights can be any color. So actually, after we'll take down the little tiny sparkly lights, but going forward for the year, for Gay Pride, we can do the lights in multiple colors because they're what's the word I'm looking for? Not
you can
infrared.
control the different, yeah.
No, but they're the new type of light there.
The LEDs or whatever.
Yeah, so they're LEDs. So we can make them like our colors are blue. So during the year we can make the building blue at night.
So you're keeping the lights.
We're keeping the lights. We're not keeping the little tiny sparkly Christmas lights. They'll go because those are really Christmas oriented. But we can light the building because there's lights on top of the building, behind the lamb and on the top. And so we can light it blue during the year, and we can light it multicolored.
Are people enjoying? Are people enjoying? Like, are you hearing a lot too? That wow, Brad.
Yeah,
Brad's a softie. Did you hear that?
I'm not hearing that, but because I'm not. But
Okay.
I am hearing that. Well, I guess I am a little bit. What I am hearing is that people like it, and the whole idea is to try to make people. It's a tough time of the year for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So to try to make people smile a little bit and show that you actually are aware of the fact that it's a tough time for people.
Yeah, it's put a smile on people's faces, and that's goes a long way. I heard is it in Venezuela where they're like the government ordered to take the toys from stores to give to they actually took control of toys and they're giving them to families who can't afford toys. Like for no monetary reason. I think it was either Argentina or Venezuela. I appreciate it.
They just stole the toys from
The
stores?
government, like from manufacturers.
Well, Venezuela is an absolute economic free fall, so it's not. So, I don't know if that happened, but if it did happen, that makes perfect sense.
How's everything going over with TorontoCondos.com and Brad J. Lamb Realty?
It's winding down. It's the end of the year, and trying to get stuff done. We're making some new deals and have a great lineup for next year for new projects and stuff.
Excellent. The Bank of Canada is keeping its key overnight rate at 0.5%, which points to a stronger global economy coupled with continued uncertainty regarding international trends. What do you see happening for the first half of 2017 in Canada? And don't laugh because I'm reading Ryan's notes. Okay?
It's like, wow, you're smart. I think that more of the same with real estate. Certainly in Toronto, there's not enough inventory, and there won't be. So more and more, I think people will be locked out of the market. And I was saying to someone today I think that the new normal is that if you want to live downtown, and if you're young, like say 20 to 30, you'll either have to have a great job, and if you have a typical job at that age, which is $70 to $80,000 at 25. You can't afford to live downtown, so you can't afford to buy anything. You can't
Crazy,
afford to,
right?
Right. So now I think the new normal is if you want to live downtown, and either as an owner or as a tenant, you need to be subsidized by your parents. That's the new reality. Or you need to be creative, and so you rent a one-bedroom and den with 2 people or 3 people, and that's happening too. But I just think that it's going to get more and more expensive. And less, so I don't think there's a shortage of people that can and want to move downtown, but I think a lot of people are going to get cut out of living in the city, much like you see in Manhattan, where people move to Queens or to New Jersey or to the Bronx, or they move to Brooklyn. And even now, you look at Brooklyn. Brooklyn is now almost as expensive as Lower Manhattan or Chelsea. And I think that that's the future for Toronto, unfortunately.
But does that hurt condos being built up? There's always going to be someone who will be able to afford them? Is that essentially?
Yeah. Because we can't, there's not a whole lot. So one of the reasons why prices are rising so much is there's not a lot of inventory, and there's not a ton of future inventory unless the three, the province, the city, and the country open up the docklands. And even that's only maybe 40,000 units. So there really isn't any lot more growth downtown. And, I don't think there's been a lot of visionary work within the city to see that and to find ways to deliver more housing. So I think that basically most people, unless they're, very talented or have rich parents, are going to be able to live 5 years from now in the city.
Wow. So, as an investment, is it good for people then if they can afford, say, an extra condo to rent out and stuff, do that now because you'll always be able to rent it? Well, I'm kind of asking personally.
Yeah, I think generally speaking, if you can buy real estate, you should buy real estate. But again, I always say this, having said that if you decide to buy in 3 or 4 years, let's say, and in 3 or 4 years, year 5, maybe there was a recession, prices will fall. But the key is to not panic and to keep your real estate, because over the period after the recession, prices will recover and then go beyond that. So long term, there's not enough real estate in the world. There's not enough farmland or water in the world, and these are all precious things. Not enough gold or anything. So, lots of people and not enough resources mean things get more expensive. So that's going to happen in real estate in Toronto for sure.
The average selling price of a home in Toronto, is this right? $776,000.
Yes, that's the average of detached houses, semi-detached, condos, townhouses, everything. Yeah.
707. That is that's it. I mean, good if you're Brad J. Lamb, but is that scary for somebody? Will that continue? This will continue then to just go up.
It's going to get worse.
It's going to get worse.
Well, worse if you're trying to buy. Fantastic if you're a real estate owner and a real estate landlord, you just, if you own land right now in Toronto, I'll tell you something, that land in and around this nightclub here, because this is an area where you could, next door they're building a 52-story tower, so this is an area you can build 50 or 60 stories tall. An acre of real estate here, which is like 43,000 feet, is worth $150 million. So if you own a parking lot here, and like in this part of the city, and you could have bought it or had it for 20, 30 years, and you would have got it for about $1 million back then, it's worth $150 million. It'd be a line of people to buy it.
As well as you've done, and much like a lot of people have gone through places or experiences where they go, fuck, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Do you still have some of those moments? Like, do you think maybe you should have even bought more? Like, do you ever have those moments yourself?
I don't have moments where too many moments where I should have bought something, because I usually buy what I can buy. Like, I'm reasonably cautious but reasonably aggressive. So I think I always skirt the line where I'm on the edge. I'm not someone who's conservative in nature, so I think I've done what I can. But I will say that I have, like, for instance, I finished a building recently that the building made about $18 million in profit, which is a decent profit, and we got our piece of that. We were not the full owner; we were part owner. But I bought that warehouse in this area in 2011 for $8 million. And if all I had done is rezoned the property, I could sell it today for 30. So doing Zippo in the same amount of time,
profit.
Made $22 million instead of 18.
Wow.
And also I wouldn't have had partners if I had done it on my own. So I would have made all the 22 million.
But your name's not on it.
No. So if you're building a business, you need to build, right?
Yeah.
I think that like being a land speculator doesn't add a lot to the world, right?
We're doing a thing here called Chirp Fest today.
Yeah.
Do you like to take the piss out of your boys, and like, can you like a good chirp, like a good roast, a good
Sorry, a chirp is when you what?
Like dudes who are about to get in a hockey fight and they throw off their gloves and like they start chirping because some guy's nose is crooked or some guys.
That's what you mean by chirp. Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, listen. I think anyone who's friends, you're always, insulting them in a somewhat friendly way.
But I mean, when you get to your like, and I'm actually, it's a very honest question. People always tend to kind of chirp your buddies, and then when guys do well and get pretty wealthy, we almost get intimidated by it. Like, we don't talk to them the same way sometimes. Do you find that's happened with you?
No, the friends that I have that are still my friends, I am the biggest butt of their jokes.
No, okay.
Oh, for sure.
And that's an important thing because people might not assume that ever.
Well, I mean,
they take the piss out of you still.
Of course. Like anyone who have had friends for 20 years or 15 years or longer, it doesn't change when you get wealthy.
Are you pretty quick-witted that way too? Can you go with them?
Oh yeah.
You want to enter the contest tonight? There's a big $500 prize for it. You
might
might need it.
I can't come to this because I have my kid tonight.
Oh, you have your kid.
I see her twice and a half, like maybe 2 to 3 times a week, and I just got to see her tonight.
You are a good dad. I saw you lose it on Facebook, and I see you lose it on this show, and I see you lose it on Facebook sometimes, which is different than when I see you on, say, CBC or CTV or something, which I like because I like seeing the real Brad J. Land. But on Facebook, you were really happy with the new Ontario court ruling that condominiums cannot use the services of Airbnb, and that's in Ontario. Yeah. So you're outspoken about this. What you take a strong stance, and you're happy with this decision.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, Airbnb. I'm fine with Airbnb.
You called them a cockroach.
They are a cockroach because of what I'm going to say. Yeah. So I'm fine with Airbnb. If you want a house in Cabbagetown or Riverdale, and you want to rent your house out to some Scandinavian couple for a week or whenever, if you're out a month, if you're gone somewhere, that's cool. Like, that's fine. There's no regulations or rules to stop that. There's no neighborhood association says you can't do that. It's none of their fucking business. You can rent it to your friends. That's fine. And I think that's what Airbnb sort of started out being. Now the problem is that how Airbnb is a cockroach is that if you live in a condominium unit in a common building where everyone knows each other and everyone relies on each other for safety and for security, and then your neighbor rents it to somebody who then Airbnbs it. So the tenant is Airbnbing it. They're not even living there. They're running a hotel unit. They're not paying hotel taxes. They're not doing anything for the economy except for their own personal gain. Building a hotel costs lots of money. You have to employ many, many people. You have to provide security. You have to provide, extra taxes on top of HST and so on. You pay to the city for the benefit of having a hotel. Airbnb doesn't pay any of that stuff. So it's an unfair advantage. But more than that, if you live next door to the asshole that's rented his apartment to a tenant that then Airbnbs it, you don't know if your girlfriend or your wife leaves the home every day, who the fuck's in the elevator. You have no way of knowing who that is. They don't register with the building. They're just phantoms.
Takes away from the community aspect of what condominium should be.
It's not safe, and it's not. And by the way, it's completely outlawed in every. I would say in 99% of condo documents, it's not allowed. It's clearly spelled out and not allowed. You're allowed to have a maximum of four, typically a maximum of 4 rentals a year for a minimum term of 3 months, and that's clear when you sign on the dotted line buy a condo. So why people think that it's not really a rule? It's a fucking rule, and you can't break it. And that now the Superior Court has determined that the declaration of condo corporation takes precedence over everything else.
So, I believe it or not, I was the president of a condo once. and there was someone doing this, and it was freaky, but it was hard to regulate, even though the documents showed it, that it went to a court battle and stuff. But now that you're saying that for anyone who knows someone who might be Airbnb-ing, it's now a legal thing beyond just a condo board and what's written in your condo docs.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Prior to this, it was very hard to stop, very hard to stomp out. That's why I said they're like cockroaches, because as soon as you get rid of one, another two pop up. But I'm not exactly sure how the legislation is going to work its way through the system. I think it was just announced yesterday, the day before that. But the good news is there's going to be, obviously, from the law side, the legal side of things, there's going to be a set of rules for people to fight this. And then Airbnb is going to have to deal with it. And I think that's the thing. You got to bring them to the table to deal with this problem, because it's completely inappropriate to be living in a building with other people and you don't know who the person living next door is.
Brad J. Lamb's hanging out with us. Donald Trump was just named Times Person of the Year. And we always talk Trump. What do you think of that?
I don't know. I mean, there were a lot of, Elon Musk may be a better Person of the Year, I think. I mean, listen, Donald Trump did a lot last year, and he was certainly in the news constantly. All he's done is win the election, so we don't know yet how good a president he'll be. We'll see. So maybe they should have waited till next year to make him Man of the Year.
Yeah, he was speaking of chirping, he was like chirping the Time magazine in years past through Twitter, saying like he didn't agree with their choices and he would never even want it and things. And now he takes
now he's loving it.
Now he loves it. Well, that's the thing with Trump. He seems to go seems just to waver with everything, what he's thinking at the moment, and then it ends up contradicting his own self.
What it is nobody likes to be shit on by the internet or by the media, and so you put up a false bravado and say, I don't like these people, and then when they come back and they say, we love you, you're like, oh, I loved you too. It's human nature.
Can business guys get away with that kind of, sort of bullshit, really, where it's like say one thing just to sort of win someone over, but then say another thing, and even if you were to reconcile those two things and they didn't agree with one another, do you have to be much more careful than even a politician, people that will soon run the United States of America, but even right here at home that sort of run our cities and our country?
Well, yeah, I mean, you have less scrutiny in what you say, but in defense of Donald Trump or any politician, when you're an outsider and you see the job, you don't you think you know what it is, but you don't fully know it until you open up the door and say, holy fuck, nobody actually told me this stuff, right? Like the CIA doesn't tell you all the crazy shit they're doing to people around the world. When you open up their dossier and go, oh, we're kidnapping people and torturing them over there, I mean, you don't know that, right? So until you actually are faced with the true economic problems that they suffer in the States and the true issues with immigration and the limitations for getting rid of people they don't want in the country, and the true limitations in scrutinizing every Muslim that comes into the country, when he actually realizes a lot of those promises he made or overtures he's going to try to do aren't reasonable, he'll change it, right? So there's a difference between any politician who's trying to get elected and by the way, Obama is exactly the same way, and I think Obama was a very steady president, but he didn't do a ton of stuff he said he was going to do. It's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is. Do you like art? Are you an art fan? Yeah. Where's Chris? Is Chris around? Where'd he go? Chris, come on over here. I want to show Brad some of your. Give us your honest opinion on Chris Stirrups, right? Yeah, come on here. Grab a mic, dude. I fell in love with this guy's art. I fell in love with it, and he's brought it to Chirp Fest here today because it fits sort of that street feel. And Brad, do you like this kind of art? Does it look good?
Can I see it's not all. Can I see one of those?
Yeah, bring it over here,
Right,
Pedro.
okay, so you not to say that you're influenced by anyone, but it looks to me like you have a little bit of that Mr. Brainwash, Andy Warhol, Lichtenstein kind of. Are those your people that you're sort of influenced
exactly.
by?
One of my biggest inspirations, I'm gonna have to say it's Alec Monopoly.
Right.
Like, because ever since I was a kid, I was spinning the Todd when I met him before the first time. I've always drawn the cartoons and been into that whole cartoon theme. Disney, I just love those characters, love all the movies and stuff. And then when I just got familiar with who Alec was, I just fell in love with that style, and I just tried to put my own little twist to it and just run with it. I just love the bright colors, the graffiti look, the splashes, the drips, and all that.
You know why I love this kid? You work construction, right?
Yeah, I do heating and air right now.
He's doing heating and air, but he's like got this creative side, this artistic side, and he reached out to me, and we did a painting of my kid actually, and it was so unbelievable, and it's just so awesome. And I love guys who, like these younger kids who don't work hard these days. They expect everything to be handed to him, but he works a 12-hour day, and then he goes and paints for another 10, sleeps 2 hours. So I'm like, let's try and display some of your art and get some notice. So it's
Yeah, no, it's great stuff. It's very colorful, and I've bought some stuff from Mr. Brainwash. I got brainwashed by Mr. Brainwash.
Yeah, he's extremely talented.
Well, I don't know about that.
oh, okay. Well, like what?
Listen, I think he's got lots of ideas, but anyway, I think they're really colorful. They're great, and where are you selling them?
Well, right now I just do commissions and stuff. People that contact me through email and stuff. I'll have a website up in the new year. Business cards are in the works right now as we speak. So I'm just the business aspect is more of a learning experience still each and every single day. I'm learning something new about the business side of everything.
You know, there's a gallery in Toronto, Andrew Richards Design. They do furniture, like outdoor furniture, and then the other half.
I had a huge beef with that guy one year, right?
Did you? I actually never met him, but
I had a
they
huge
have
beef
nice
with him.
parties.
No, it's a great party. I like the venue.
But anyway, half of his venue or half of his warehouse down there is an art gallery. It's a pop art gallery.
Oh, nice.
You should go and see them because they have a lot of stuff. They had some fat guy from Miami, like 70 years old. Or maybe it was the Bronx. Anyways, a Hispanic guy, quite heavy set. So I said fat. And he does a lot of this kind of
Street art.
It's kind of street art with graffiti and with bright images and sometimes, well known. Who is that? Is that Sean Penn?
No, that's Pablo Escobar.
Oh, it's Pablo Escobar.
Yeah, his mugshot.
Okay. Yeah, nice. Not a Disney character, apparently.
No, he's
no,
not
not
quite,
that one,
not
no.
quite.
So the two opposites.
I'll cool stuff. You
I'll
like
do
it, right?
stuff like
Most
that as
evil
well
man in the
too.
world and Walt Disney. No, I like them. They're great.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Appreciate
Fantastic.
it.
All right, well, that's our pitch to you. Will you invest to him? That's our pitch this week to you. You know, we do our Dragon's Den here.
What's the
thing.
investment? Investing in him?
Yeah. What do you want? You ask for an investment.
Yeah, I would love a big studio.
Well, that's not really a proposal.
No, that's not a good proposal. I'll put you on the spot here, kid.
There has to be.
Yeah, I know.
When an investor is considering investing, there has to be a win at the end, unless it's charity and that's not an investment.
See?
So
I learned something new again today.
You own 30% of every painting he sells, and you need $50,000 for a startup. I don't know.
Not bad.
honestly, what I would do. If
I wouldn't
were
say
you
30%.
Is I would grab 2 or 3 of those and go down to Andrew Richards Design, and it'll be someone manning the art gallery. You know what? We sell stuff. Like art. Art's a funny world. Like people decide if you're good or not based on the parameters that I look. I don't fucking get why Mr. Brainwash is good. I like all the colors, but I'm not. I don't know why that's good. I just
Yeah,
like
no,
the
for
colors,
sure. I
right?
agree.
So it's not like he's doing Picasso work. So they've got lots of pop art down there. I'd say go down there and see if they'll put your stuff on the walls. They're getting like $3,000-$4,000, $5,000 for originals, signed originals.
Okay.
There you go. And you're thinking of only selling those for $5,000 to $1,000, right?
You got like 50 grand.
Yeah,
of
well,
stuff
they've
there.
gone up. They've gone up. Actually, the last few have been selling for a decent penny. So
good.
It's just
What's a decent
It's
penny?
going up slowly here and there. What's that?
What's a decent penny?
Between $1,000 to $3,000 so far.
Yeah, well,
compared to what they used to go like $300 to $600.
And how do you sell them?
Well, like I said, I paint like the ones on my own whenever, just to have inventory and all that. And then a lot of them, it's just been coming in from commission. People have been emailing me or contacting me through DM on Instagram, and just been putting them in as orders and doing what the people ask and putting a smile on their face.
That's great.
Well, Chris, where can people find you? At Chris.
You can add me on Instagram at Stirps, STIRPSS, and Snapchat is STIRPZ11. Check it out; it's good art.
Excellent, dude. And come down to 77 Peter Street, UG3 Live. You'll see all the art hung up for Chirp Fest today. Brad J. Lamb, thank you for hanging out with us.
Hey,
TorontoCondos.com. If you're looking to sell or buy, make sure you contact Brad J. Lamb Realty. And if you want to go and get an incredible investment, buy early in some of his buildings that he's putting up. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous. Get the Lamb Standard. And as well, if you just want to go and live in one, make sure you just go check out a Lamb Standard condominium.
The Todd Shapiro Show.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. You can subscribe over there, or you can watch another video over here. And I think this is the Daniel Bryan yes chant. So what the hell? Yes, Todd Shapiro Show. Daniel Bryan can't wrestle anymore. It's a very sad story.